1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You bet, Bob.
With coverage you can count on. Welcome to Erie News Now at 5.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Eva Mastromatio. Mike Ruzzi has the night off. Thanks for making Erie News Now a part of your evening. Erie News Now is election coverage you can count on. Millions of Pennsylvanians will be heading to the polls tomorrow to vote in the primary election. Our Ethan Kibbe is joining us now with a look at the key races in which voters have choices. Ethan, good evening.
Eva, good evening. You'll technically have choices in a lot of races, although many of them, like the presidential race, those are foregone conclusions. Technically, they're contested races, but President Biden, former President Trump already have the votes needed. They're going to be on the ballot in November. That is not the case, though, not by any means, for some other races. Let's go around the state. Let's start with Attorney General. This is an interesting one. Michelle Henry filled in for Josh Shapiro when he became governor. She said, I'm not running. I'm not a politician, not running. That means we've got both sides of the ticket where you'll have options tomorrow. Here's the Democratic side. As you can see, five Democrats vying for Attorney General. Probably your front runner, Eugene DePasquale, simply because of name recognition. He's the state's former Auditor General. Two on the Republican side as well. As we take a look at this, Dave Sunday, Craig Williams vying for that job. We'll see who emerges tomorrow when all of those votes are tallied. We do know, however, we're going to have a new Attorney General come November, and regardless of which party you belong to, you will be able to vote in that race tomorrow. Let's move along here, talk about Auditor General for just a moment. On the Democratic side, we've got Mark Pinsley and Malcolm Kenyatta, both running to unseat current Republican Tim DeFore. This is an interesting race to watch as well, neither with huge name recognition in this part of the state, so we're really keeping an eye on our region. It could give us an indicator of how things will shape up in November. A few more races to keep an eye on. Treasurer for one, because Ryan Bizzarro of Erie is running in that race against Aaron McClelland. Of course, right now, Stacey Garrity, the Republican, is the incumbent. These two vying for the chance to square off with her come November. And then one other race, and this is the big local primary. That would be that state Senate district on the Democratic side. Jim Wirtz, Selena King, one of them will take on Dan Laughlin this fall. This, obviously, a very local, very important race in our region, and it's one we'll have crew members on tomorrow night. There are also some House districts that are really interesting and could set the stage for November. We'll talk about those, though, tomorrow. You'll have to wait till then. For now, though, Ethan Kibbe, Erie News Now.
All right, Ethan, thanks so much. Of course, Erie News Now, election coverage you can count on. Well, you know, in recent years, Erie and the rest of the country have dealt with a homelessness problem, one that continues to grow. And in some cities, police are fining people for sleeping outside. The Supreme Court heard oral arguments today about whether those fines are legal. Our Elsbeth Meisner is joining us live tonight from downtown Erie. Elsbeth, tell us a little bit more about what's at stake with these oral arguments.
Eva, this all stems from a small town in Oregon who's dealing with an ongoing homelessness problem because they don't have enough shelters. Now the question remains, how should cities deal with the homelessness problem if there's not enough shelters? And does imposing a fine on these people who don't have homes amount to cruel and unusual punishment? Christina Bretner lives on the streets and is afraid of the possibility of getting penalized for her current situation.
I'm homeless, so I deserve to be punished? Why?
Joseph Sims knows what it's like to be homeless, but he got the help thanks to the Erie City Mission.
I was homeless before, and I came here, and I happened to get a job, and one of the things that they did for me is help me find a place, and actually stick and stay there, and just help me come up with a game plan to set me financially straight.
Homelessness is an issue that's not going to be solved overnight, which is why it's vital that there's different community resources and services to help those in need, like the Mercy Center for Women. Jenny Haggerty has a wait list of over 50 women looking to get help from the Mercy Center for Women. But she doesn't know if this decision solves the bigger problem at hand.
I think that the Supreme Court now is coming to determine what their future looks like, these individuals, what their future looks like, and what they will and will not be penalized for is very concerning.
Sims believes mental health is just as important as tackling homelessness.
A lot of the people who are homeless today have mental health backgrounds. And people who are not, if you can't get help with homelessness, how do you expect to get help for your mental health?
Haggerty is confident that providing support and resources will go further than having people pay a fine.
That's incredibly important, as opposed to, again, banning them or charging them a fine. I believe Supreme Court is recommending somewhere between $250 and $1,200. I really don't know where homeless people would be able to find those type of resources to repay them.
Now, Eva, this decision won't happen overnight. We likely won't hear a decision from the Supreme Court until the end of term this summer. Live in Perry Square, Elspeth Meisner, Erie News Now.
Elspeth, thank you. Well, the sun started off this Monday in the region. We saw the sun out there with Elspeth in downtown Erie tonight. The question is, will that sun be around for tomorrow? Dakota Hunter has the answer tonight from the Weather Center. Dakota, good evening.
Good evening, Eva. And the unfortunate news is the sun goes away for tomorrow. We do have a little bit of rain in the forecast, but you want warmer temperatures? Tomorrow is going to be a nice day, at least in that regard. Here is a live look outside from the Gary Miller at the Mall Skycam, and you can see here blue skies, just a few cumulus clouds, temperature at 56. So really, if you're going out to dinner tonight or any traveling, you're going to be good. We're not going to deal with any frost concerns for most of us through the overnight hours tonight. Clouds and somewhat warmer temperatures, figuratively speaking, will keep that frost from developing. Again, you can see some of that cumulus clouds developing out there towards Meadville, but again, they're just fair weather clouds, so nothing will come out of them.